Hi, I'm Nigel from mayamada, here with a storytelling tip from the 2020 DC film Birds of Prey. My storytelling tip for episode 15 was all about making your protagonist a bad person. Bad can mean different things. It's more about what bad means in the context of your story, and probably society at large, come to think of it. It's something that can be done to good effect, but I felt that Birds of Prey missed the mark in a couple of ways. Here are some other instances of where it's done well.
You clearly don't know who you're talking to, so let me clue you in. I am not in danger, Skylar. I am the danger.
Breaking Bad's Walter White became an evil character over the course of the story, but in the beginning, we saw a normal man in a difficult and understandable situation, not having enough money to pay for his recent cancer diagnosis. This is something that we can relate to and empathize with. What he did after that is another thing entirely. But even though he was a bad character, in the story we saw people who were worse than him. Gus, for example. Doing this puts your bad character on a spectrum. And even though the protagonist we follow through the story is a bad character, we can always say there's someone worse.
So I write a name and that person dies. Like anyone would believe that.
In Death Note, for example, we understand Light's initial motivation to rid the world of bad people. It's another goal we can at least empathize with. Light also has a very formidable opponent, an antagonist in L. This makes the conflict in the story way more compelling than just seeing Light descend into darkness. He has an opponent that he has to rise above if he's going to achieve his goal of... I'm not sure what his goal is by the end. Another good example of this is Megamind. Even though he starts off as the clear villain in this story, we see his opponent, his antagonist, Hal, being way worse and much more dangerous because he doesn't play by the same rules that Megamind is playing by. So back to Birds of Prey, and two things you can think about when making your protagonist a bad person. Number one, even a bad protagonist needs to be empathetic. A lack of characterization in many of the leads made it hard to really care about their motivations. Aside from Harley, who we already knew about in the previous film Suicide Squad, and Renee were essentially told about the other characters rather than shown their experience. So remember to let your audience in and understand and really feel what your protagonist is going through, even if they're about to take a dark turn and become a bad person. Number two, if your protagonist is going to be bad, your antagonist needs to be way worse. And I felt that Black Mask was a weak villain. For me, he came off more silly than menacing, aside from that one scene in the club, which is a real hard tonal shift for the character. But the main thing is that he wasn't a strong villain who was clearly worse of a person than the protagonist. And also his motivation, getting the diamond to amass more power and wealth, even though he already had both, was quite a shallow motivation. You can make your protagonist a bad person, but we still need the audience to understand, empathize, and really feel, rather than being told, why your protagonist needs to succeed, whether we agree with their methods or not. And that's your tip for Story X Story episode 15. Let us know what you think in the comments, or join our Discord and continue the conversation there. You can also send us an email on this or any other episode to feedback@mayamada.com. And while you're here, don't forget to listen and subscribe to the podcast, and also subscribe to us on YouTube for more storytelling tips and other videos from the mayamada universe. We'll see you next time. Hi there, I'm Nigel from mayamada. Thanks for watching our video. Don't forget to subscribe and check out the other videos we have on the channel. You can also listen to and subscribe to the Story X Story podcast at mayamada.com/storyxstory. We'll see you soon.